Alright, so hopefully you're at a computer and you have AutoCAD 2014 open, and I'm just going to kind of walk you through what it looks like. So when you first log in, you may see some screens, some pop-ups that may look a little bit different than my screen. So I'm going to come over here. Just press cancel until you get to a screen that looks something like this. Just keep pressing cancel and eventually this will load up. So the first thing that I want to point out to you is these are the things we're going to talk about: title bars, menu browsers, graphics window, cursors, command prompt, your status toolbar, your ribbons, tabs, panels, and draw and modify. Those are the things that we're going to kind of talk about today and go through those one by one. So the first thing is your title bar and info center. These are some things that you'll see. The very top of your screen, this up here at the very top, tells us that we're using AutoCAD 2014. And right here is the default name for my particular file. So it's drawing1.dwg. So that tells me the name of my particular file. You'll also note right here it says drawing1. Okay. And then you also can use the help button right here where it says type a keyword or phrase. You can click right in there and type in whatever you're looking for, and it will open up the help menu for you. So that area there at the top is called the title bar. The next thing that's important is your menu browser. That's the big red A over on the left. So the big red A over here on the top left, this is going to have some commands that maybe you're somewhat familiar with your other like Microsoft Office products. You've got new, open, save, save as. Those are pretty standard. You've got export, so that's a little bit different one. Publish, again, something else that's new. And then print. So some similar things that you've seen before that are there. You also have options down here at the bottom, and if you click on that you can go through and see all the different ways to customize AutoCAD. So there's lots of different things you can play with. You can play with the color scheme, lots of different user settings and preferences up here. The issue with this is if you're at a school computer, if you go in here and play with these, it's only good for that particular instance of using AutoCAD. Once you log off and log back in, all of those settings are going to be gone. If you're at your house and you've got your own computer and you want to come in and play with some things, then every time you open and close AutoCAD, these will then apply. So one of the things that I like to do is come in and play with my colors, and then you can change your background color up here from black. You can change it to white, and sometimes that's a little bit easier on the eyes. Then you can click apply and close and then OK. And so I just changed the background color from black to white, which for a lot of people makes it a little bit easier to see. But all of that is done through your menu browser, the big red A in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. The next thing I want to point out is your quick access toolbar. So up here, you've got some things. Again, a lot of these commands you're kind of used to seeing. There's a new, an open, a save as, a print, an undo. You can also click this little downward arrow right here. Excuse me, you can right click on that and then choose customize quick access toolbar, just like you can in any other piece of software that has a quick access toolbar, and it will let you customize the different commands that you see. And obviously AutoCAD has lots of commands. The most used ones are the ones that are automatically up there, but sometimes you'll see maybe you want one of these other commands to pop up on that list. You can add them just using that customized piece right there. So the next thing is your graphics window, and that's where we're actually going to be drawing objects. This area right here on my screen, I just made it white. On yours it might be black. This entire area here is my graphics window. That's where the actual circles and squares and lines and things are going to go. You also notice that I have a cursor or crosshairs, whatever you want to call those there, that I'm moving around. When I have my mouse in that area, it goes from looking like your typical mouse. When I drop it down here in the graphics window, it looks like a crosshair. Then we have our command line or command window, and that's what this is down here. Right there at the bottom, command line or command window. Now this is movable. You can change its size by just hovering your mouse. You'll notice that I can change and make it a little bit taller by clicking and dragging up. I can make that window a little bit bigger. And if you're a previous AutoCAD user and you don't necessarily like this layout, because it's kind of different for 2014, if you click right above the X right there, you can click and drag and pull that window down to the bottom. Notice how it changed. I just dragged my mouse down and then let go. You'll see that it kind of put that command line and command bar window down here at the bottom. So you're going to see that on my computer a lot. I'm going to move that down just because that kind of looks like a more previous version of AutoCAD, and I'm a little bit more comfortable with it being down there at the bottom. So this is your command line, and in here you can click in here and type in commands. Like if I wanted to draw a circle, I could type that in there. I could push enter and I can start drawing things. So there's a circle on my screen. So in our command window and command line, there are lots of things that you can do. So here's my command line down here at the bottom. So I can type in some commands. I can type in particular coordinates of where I want those commands to start from. Everything that you type in there is not case sensitive. Most things are not. And you can also abbreviate some commands, like line. Instead of typing out L-I-N-E, you can just type in L. Circle is a C, M is move, CO is copy. You can also repeat commands just by pressing enter. Anytime that you want to get rid of anything that's in your command line, you can press the escape button, which is the upper left hand corner of your keyboard, the ESC for escape, and that kind of deletes everything out. The next thing I want to talk about is the status bar. Now that is right below here. You'll notice that I've got 3 numbers separated by commas. That's my cursor position. So as I move my mouse around, you can see that those numbers change. And then you probably see these icons down here at the bottom. Just a second, and I'll change mine back to icons. There we go. So you probably have these icons down here, and if you hover your mouse over top of them, you're going to see that each one has a name. I prefer to not look at the icons. I would rather see the words because I'm not so great with the icons. So if you want to see words instead of icons, you can come down here to the status bar, right click, and then click the button that says use icons. So now I have icons. They're in the same order. Now I have words. They're in the same order as those icons were before. It just has words instead of icons. So you'll notice there's some different ones down here, and as we learn how to draft, some of these things will be turned on, like this one. If I click on it, it's going to turn on. It changes from gray to blue, and I can click on it again to turn it off. And you'll notice when I hover over top of some of these, you see in parentheses, like on this one, F11. If I push the F11 key on my keyboard, it's going to turn it and toggle it off. I pushed it again and toggled it on. So some of these, not all of them, have different toggles. Another thing that's probably pretty common when you first open your AutoCAD, this one right here, DYN or F12, dynamic input, that one is typically turned on. In most of my examples, I'm not going to use this one, so it's kind of important every time you open up your system to go ahead and toggle off the DYN. So that's F12, or you can just click on the icon, either one, to turn it off. It kind of messes with how your cursor moves around the screen and how we enter coordinates. So it's kind of for more advanced users. So for now, to not be confused, go ahead and make sure every time you open up CAD to turn this DYN off. The next thing we're going to talk about is the tabs up at the top. This entire thing all the way across the top here is called the ribbon, and that's true whether you're using Excel or AutoCAD. All of those commands all across the top are called the ribbon. Now in CAD we have these up here, and these are called tabs. So we have a home tab, insert, annotate, layout. Just like in Word you have a home tab, but then you have maybe mailings and review, format, different tabs depending on which program you're using. So those up there at the top are called tabs. So you know, we've got some common ones. The most common ones we're going to use in our class are pretty much just going to be this home tab and annotate. Those are the only ones we're really going to get into in drafting 1 class. Then off of your home tab, once you're on the correct tab, then you're going to see these different groupings of icons. So we have the draw, modify, layers. All of those are called toolbar panels. So basically, just like they've done in Word where they've put like things together, in AutoCAD they've put similar commands together. So the ones we're going to use the most in this class will be this draw, modify, and layers toolbar panels. You also, inside of these icons, you also have some flyouts. So if you click to the right of some of these icons, you'll see that rectangle and polygon are very similar type commands, so they've grouped them together in one icon. Same thing here. Those are different ways that you can draw ellipses. So they've kind of put that all together using these drop-down boxes. You can also click where it says draw, and that will give you the flyout command. So what you're seeing up here in the ribbon are the most commonly used commands, but there's also other ones that are associated with the draw toolbar panel, and those can be found in the flyout. Same thing over here with modify. You can click and look at those. So if you're used to using an older version of CAD and you don't really want to use the new version, another thing that you can do is come up here to the top where you see the gear, and you can change this to AutoCAD Classic. And what that does is going to change your look to maybe something that you're more familiar with if you've used an older version. I'm not going to teach you how to do that. I just wanted to point that out, that you can kind of make it look like the old version. I'm going to teach you the drafting and annotation, or the new up to date with the mirror, with the ribbon version of AutoCAD. Another thing that's important to understand how to use in CAD is how to use your mouse buttons. So your left mouse button is pretty standard. Anytime that you want to click around, that's the button that you're going to use. Your right mouse button is going to be used to bring up kind of additional options, just like it would in most other CAD programs. And then what's really nice is that middle button on your wheel mouse. You can use that to pan. If you push down and move your mouse left to right, you can pan across your drawing. And then if you roll it forward or backwards, that allows you to zoom in or zoom out. Again, when we're typing things in our command line, anytime that you're confused or need to start over, you can always press the escape key, and that will kind of just delete everything that you've been working on typing in and kind of let you start that particular command over again.